Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, July the 24th, 2023. We've gone through, in the past week, over the weekend, a tremendous amount of unpredictable, unstable energies. So Monday, the 24th, will be welcome because there aren't any major planetary events, and the moon that sets the public tone will be in peacekeeping, harmonious Libra. Good for just socializing and finding harmony and cooperation. On Tuesday, the moon will be still in Libra, will be in harmony with Venus. Venus is the planet associated with Libra. Libra is a sign of relationships. Venus is in the sign of relationships, but Venus is retrograde until September the 3rd. So around 8, 9, 10 a.m. Pacific time, the moon will be in harmony with the retrograde Venus. That could be a good period where if you were feeling like you got off on the wrong page, and the wrong footing, and with a relationship, you're feeling like, did I say something wrong? And so this could be a good few hours to get back on track. Then the moon leaves Libra, and the void of course period is very, very short, so it doesn't really matter. But the moon that sets at a public tone goes out of that harmonious Libra into more intense, passionate Scorpio at 9:56 a.m. Pacific time. Moon in Scorpio, you might be more inclined for secrets, for wanting privacy. It's good for studying, researching, meditation, because that Scorpio goes within. On Wednesday, the moon in Scorpio will be opposite expansive Jupiter. The opposite could mean other people, could be very generous to you. You could be attracting job offers, financial offers, any type of generosity with that moon, Jupiter. And the peak of it, the best of it, is around 10 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific time. Thursday, the 27th, communication Mercury is now going to align with the retrograde Venus. So here's another opportunity. If you're second guessing a relationship, if you got off on the wrong page, if there's some misunderstandings because of the Venus retrograde, that Mercury aligning with Venus can really help you sort it out. To really have a more heartfelt conversation and maybe even bring you even closer together. Also, the moon that had been in this secretive, intense Scorpio at 5:25 p.m. on the 27th, the moon goes into Sagittarius for a couple of days, 5:25 p.m. Pacific time. When the moon is in Scorpio, the general public tends to be more private, more inward, more intense. When the moon goes then into Sagittarius, Sagittarius is outgoing, it's optimistic, it's playful, it wants to expand, it wants to travel. And that moon in Sagittarius could be very supportive with Mercury, Venus, for wanting to have a heartfelt conversation about your relationship to clear up perhaps any misunderstandings. On Friday, now the moon continues in Sag, but it's going to be in tension with impatient, irritable Mars. That's early afternoon, 12:01 to p.m. Pacific time. So it's only an hour or two, but you might be with that moon Mars jumping to conclusions, feeling really irritable, feeling really anxious. My recommendation, if you're feeling all that energy in your body, you're feeling that nervousness with others, exercise or meditate or go just take a nice long walk, especially if you can do it in nature. On Friday, communication Mercury that had been in Leo for a few weeks is going into analytical, critical Virgo at 2:32 p.m. Pacific time for several weeks. Now, that Mercury for the whole world, you might be more critical, but it could be very good for being more analytical and really paying attention to your words, paying attention to details. On Saturday, the moon, it continues in Sagittarius, very outgoing, adventurous, optimistic energy, but it's going to go void of course, 4:51 p.m. Pacific time until 8:44 p.m. Pacific time, at which point the moon goes into earthy, practical, organized Capricorn for the rest of the weekend. Now, again, when the moon is void of course, it's changing signs, but it's no longer making any aspects. So the energy is very flat and unproductive. It's good for resting. It's good to stick to your routine, but it's not advised to be introducing any major new events, projects, new jobs with the moon void of course, because the energy supporting it is unproductive. Now, the moon from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, with the moon in more realistic, practical Capricorn, is going to be triggering Venus and Neptune, which are coming together very nicely. Venus-Neptune can be very romantic energies. And with that Venus in retrograde, this could also be on a Saturday evening when you're remembering what you used to love about your partner, and it might awaken more romanticism. On Sunday, as the moon continues in Capricorn, it's going to be in harmony with Saturn, pragmatic, logical business Saturn. Saturn is the planet that is associated or rules the sign Capricorn. So here's the public moon in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, in harmony with Saturn from 6, 7, 8 a.m. Pacific time. This is a time of feeling really centered, really grounded, feeling secure, good for business. By 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, that rational, organized moon in Capricorn will be in harmony with ambitious Mars and expansive Jupiter. This could also be very favorable energies for business meetings or just collecting all your thoughts to jumpstart a new, on Monday, a new work week where you're feeling much more optimistic about new business projects. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.